So this year, for the summer video concert series, we have Woodstock, 50th anniversary. Spring. I don't know, come on, let's do it.
Good evening, ladies. Oh, geez, that's a loud mic. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hear ye, hear ye. Calling the meeting to order. I'll take attendance starting from my right.
Of course. Ted Cannon.
Now you gotta push up.
Cheryl
There
Craig.
you go. There you go. You're on it.
Stephanie Brodsky.
I'm so sorry, Alan Millman.
Lois Weasel.
Robert Cohen. Joseph.
Karen Clauser. Rosie Stein.
Thank you very much. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Please turn off your cell phones. I'm sorry. If you ring, we'll all be unhappy. Or put it on vibrate. Thank you very much. Different people, different seats. All right, are there any new residents here this evening? Are you a new resident? No, you're just waiting. I know you. Okay, that's fine. Okay, no new residents. Do I have a waive to read the minutes
So moved.
and to accept them as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any opposed? No? Okay, approved. Okay, the committee handbook. Now, what the board has is the final. The last 3 pages were the pages that were changed since we put this together. It has the red line and cross-throughs and all this stuff. That will be fixed if we approve it tonight. No, any comments from anybody on the board on it? Yeah, the last 3 pages cover the new committee of beautification, and it also had a change to management oversight and landscaping oversight. So I can just tell you what the changes were, because the beautification committee is going to work in conjunction with community planning and green committee. Can you turn my mic down a little bit?
What number is it?
8. Number 8.
8.
Yeah. Glasses will go. So the items to be considered for the beautification committee include signage, lighting, tennis corners, potted plants, orchids on trees, decorative touches around mailboxes, planting at dead-end block circles, and other items to help the marketability of our community. So that's the changes on that. That's a new committee. And for landscaping, which now reads landscaping and irrigation oversight, beautification, the name beautification was removed. And under irrigation maintenance, it's sprinklers and pipes. Under landscaping maintenance, mow, edge, blow, privacy and perimeter hedges, and string trimmers. We took out the only tree trimming that Palm Beach Broward does is the visible palm trees in front of their house with a pole saw up to 16 feet. And we added that present and future homeowners are responsible for maintaining all plantings. And do we leave that that in, Joe? We took that out. That they're responsible for plantings installed by present or past homeowners, except for those installed to replace hedges. And the islands will be cared for up to 8 feet. That stays in, correct? It's the next to last page. Okay. Well, they will be once it's finalized. This is a
There's
draft.
not going to be 208 pages in here.
No, it won't be 208 pages.
Landscape oversight and beautification says page 208.
Yeah, it doesn't, I thought I fixed that. Oh, it says 208. That's because it said 18-19, and it did the math. And also added was the reports will specifically include statistics on the status of all landscape and irrigation work requests and landscape and irrigation preventive maintenance schedule activities.
Oh.
You have questions, Stephanie? No?
I have a question. I thought too that we were taking that particular paragraph out. The present and future homeowners are responsible for maintaining all plantings, etc.
That's why I was asking Joe.
Yeah, and I thought, just like you, I heard you ask Joe, just
Yeah.
like you, I thought, didn't we agree to take that out?
Joe?
I agree that
Hold on. Use your mic. We can't hear you.
I was under the impression that we're gonna make a starting point. And that's why we left that in there. Starting point.
Talking to the mic.
What does that mean?
It means that present and future, well,
Doesn't
yeah,
say that.
is the problem.
See, it's not saying, if that's what you want it to say,
That's not what
that's
it's
not
saying.
what it's saying.
Okay.
Right.
So do we want to change that to present and future?
What do we have in there?
Well, it says past or present.
No, it says present and future homeowners are responsible for maintaining plantings installed by past and present owners.
That's different. We're talking about plants that were planted previously.
Yeah, we're not saying we won't cut them right now, but what we're saying is you're responsible to make sure that they're kept trimmed.
Right, I mean, I feel like it's such a hair-splitting endeavor, and it confuses people to the point where I'd like to see it either left out completely or a language inserted that makes it even more understandable.
All right? Yeah, let's change it. I have
Hear
a-
what Robert said?
Is this not in a disagreement with the admittedly temporary month or so deal we made with Palm Beach Broward at a meeting a couple weeks back where they were going to take care of everything and see how it worked out? So that's why I thought maybe that had been changed and this paragraph went back in, but then the agreement is temporary, so I'm not sure where that leaves us.
Well, that's partly the problem.
Go ahead, Joe.
Here's my
What do
suggestion.
you want to say?
We change it to all new plantings approved by the architectural committee must be maintained by the current owner and passed on to any future owners, that it's their responsibility to take care of those plants.
Okay, so that's the left.
I will ask you to amend that by saying all new homeowner plantings.
Whatever.
Yeah, just to make it clear what we're talking about.
Well, it wouldn't matter, because even if somebody plants in the village and they're 18 inches, that's a new planting.
Right, but what it doesn't do is it confuses the idea that if we, management, one of the associations makes new plantings or installs new plantings, that they might somehow, the homeowners, be responsible for maintaining them. It's a language thing.
Okay, so let's review what exact, all new homeowner plantings approved by AC Architectural Control Board and installed by
The owner.
the owner, homeowners, except for those installed to replace hedges originally installed by developer.
The responsibility of the homeowner to
Will be the responsibility of the homeowner?
maintain.
Those who plant. Their responsibility needs to be passed on.
Which shall be passed on.
Shall be passed on. So, what should happen at this point is that when the Architectural Control Board approves a planting, somewhere, a plot map of that individual property needs to have that new planting on it, so that we can identify.
In the few times, for Architectural Control Board, when that has happened, we get a brand new survey from their landscaper with all the details showing, a marked up site plan, and that goes into the record, and that shows what was approved that went for them to plant. We get that kind of data already, but this only occurs once or twice a year.
That's overboard. You can go to Papa and look at the boundary line and see where they put it.
Okay, let me just see if I have a sentence here. All new homeowner plantings,
But can you, excuse me,
Yeah,
can I ask something?
sure.
Can you
He's
say-
talking to the mic.
Can you say resident plantings? Because when I was a renter, I did a bunch of plantings around the house. So just.
No, because in fact, when you planted it as a resident, as a renter,
Mm-hmm.
it was your homeowner who was
I know
responsible,
he's
not you.
responsible. It's a question of who plants it.
Well,
Yeah,
The
but
homeowner is responsible.
You might be
but
gone in 3 months, and then whose responsibility is but the homeowner?
The homeowner,
I know,
But-
but
So,
where it says homeowner planted, can you say?
well, all right, so
resident
how about if I just say it this way? All new plantings installed and approved by the Architectural Control Board will be the responsibility of the homeowner, except for those installed to replace hedges originally installed by the developer. And maintained, the maintenance of these will be passed on to future homeowners. Islands will be cared for up to 8 feet. Talk in the mic, please. Talk in the mic. Talk in the mic. Mic.
Are you talking about 8 feet in diameter
Let
or
Joanne
8 feet in height?
You were the one who said height, right? Okay. Not the depth.
You have to have clarity.
Okay. Do you want me to say 8 feet in height? It's not depth though, right?
no.
As far- you said as far as they
We
reach.
have, as far as I know, we have no requirement for the islands. We have requirement for hedges,
Okay,
we have requirements for other things, but
okay.
You
I
know,
will
if you-
change
you
that
know.
sentence.
what are you gonna do if somebody puts a tree in there?
And then the last segment is the management oversight, and the only thing that was removed from there was signage, which was added to beautification. I think the board pretty well went over this. Do we have any other questions on it? Okay, I saw hands in the audience. Dave, you have a question? Go ahead.
I'm totally confused. When this came up last month, I remember something about the Palm Beach Broward would take care of everything now up to 20 minutes per home.
Right.
Are we talking about the same thing?
This is not the Palm Beach contract, this is the
Right.
committee handbook. This is what the committees are responsible for, not the landscaper.
The committees are
Yes.
responsible for it. Never mind.
Okay, got it. Francesca had a hand up, if you would, please.
I'm a little confused when you
Give your
say.
name for the
Oh,
record.
Francesca?
Thank you. No, it's on.
Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. I was a little confused as far as when you say the approval from the committee, that planting is the homeowners. If you read that, you have the committee to do all
Now I can't hear you.
the committee that approves your plans or.
Yeah, Architectural Control Board.
That's what I meant. When the committee, some of us went by the law all the time, from the day we moved in to today. And we have a lot of paperwork on approvals from the architectural board. Now, by you saying what you just said before, that people that have architectural approval, that's their responsibility. And the people that never went to architectural approval, it's going to be our responsibility.
No, it should still be the homeowner's responsibility.
No.
Not the way that says.
Oh, okay, then maybe I'm not understanding.
Some people have never gotten architectural
That's, I
approval,
understand.
okay? And that's what she's concerned about.
And that's what I
right?
said, whether they got it or not.
People that follow the rules are going to be now punished, because they're going to show in their records that they put up this tree and that tree and this flower and this bush. So that means that in the future, from today going forward, that's your responsibility, because it is the homeowners. Then you have people that didn't give a crap about people, about laws and rules. So they didn't put anything, they just put in trees and put in bushes and put in everything else. Now, we, as a community, has to pay for that. I don't think that's fair,
No.
because we looked at the right thing as the people that don't.
Heard from the last. No, it's not, it wasn't the last.
Lois, the new wording that you just gave implies that only plantings that were approved by the Architectural Control Board
Right.
will be maintained by the resident or the homeowner. You
Right.
need to change that to say,
I understood, to me, everybody would be responsible, but if you want me to change the word.
Right.
No, let me clarify. The problem here is that if we go with the language that we have now, then people who don't get approval don't get a free walk. And all we have to do is take out this section that says approved by the Architectural Control Board because it's unnecessary.
No, it's not.
No, it is unnecessary because in other places,
Just because you speak louder doesn't make it right.
Joe, in other places, we have established there are rules that if you want to install plantings, you have to go to the Architectural Control Board.
Right.
This becomes duplicative in terms of, it's trying to reinforce something that's already stated elsewhere.
Yep.
And it's unnecessary because, as Francesca points out, it's confusing to the
It's not
public.
unnecessary, and I'll tell you why. Because if push comes to shove, if people have plantings that haven't been approved by the Architectural Control Board, okay, and we need to get them out of our way, we can just rip them out. We don't have to ask their permission.
That's fine, that's terrific. That's exactly what we should do, but we don't need to put it in this section.
What difference does it make?
Well, I have to agree with Alan. This is a committee handbook. It doesn't set any forth, there's not a document that's given to the owners that say these are rules that you have to follow. This is just what explaining to a committee what their jobs are. It's not a set of rules. And Alan's right, any rules have to be in the rules, not in this committee handbook, because no owner's ever gonna bother to read it.
Not
They won't read the rules, they won't read this.
Actually,
It will
so,
confuse the
wait,
committee.
go ahead,
It will
sorry.
confuse me as an oversight to say, well, I have to see the papers if you have approval on this.
well,
It confuses a committee person.
this is what that section starts with. Items under this committee's supervision include. That's the last bullet. Now, I'm not sure that this has anything to do, at all to do with the committee. Is this under the committee's supervision? No.
So this is actually a statement directed at homeowners
Right,
that's
and
in
not
the
at the
handbook
committee.
for the committees.
So maybe it should come out altogether.
I agree.
You're right.
Because the handbook is a guide to what we need to look at in rules and regulations to make sure they agree. If you're giving them guidelines, then those same guidelines have to show up in rules and regulations.
Well, I agree they belong in rules and regs. But again, this section begins with items under this committee's supervision. Does the committee supervise who, other than the islands will be cared for up to 8 feet? I'm not sure. You want the 8 feet out?
Yeah, it can't be more than 4 feet.
Well, that's not what you told us last time.
I told you to talk about edges.
No, it says
When I said 8
islands.
feet, I meant in
Yeah,
diameter.
Well, but that's what I just asked you, are you talking diameter or height?
So,
Can I get the floor for a second?
I think what belongs in here is that the committee's responsibility is to see that the rules with regard to homeowner maintenance are complied with. That's this oversight committee's job. That's what this sentence should say, and leave the rules, whatever they are, for the rule book, and whatever the rule book says, this committee will make sure they're followed.
I would like to say that the oversight implies that it's oversight of getting these things done by the various contractors that we use. So I'm not sure that this fits into that kind of thinking, because it is more of a question of what you tell the homeowners, not what you're telling or overseeing in terms of maintenance on the property.
well, the problem is that the contractor right now doesn't know what to cut and what not to
Well,
cut.
this is not a document for
This
the
is not their
contractor.
contract. Shh, hang on everybody. This is not their contract. That should be in their contract. If that's what you
Exactly.
want to tell them, then this should be in their contract and not in the committee handbook.
Fine.
So are we agreeable to taking this out of this whole
I think we
paragraph?
should vote on that. I don't think we
Okay.
can ask, are we agreeable, because clearly we're not.
Okay.
Let's find out if it agrees or doesn't.
Sure, use the microphone, please.
At this point in time, the landscaper, unless it's a recent planting, won't know who planted what and who had it approved. So all islands should be maintained by landscapers who put in the rules, but future people putting in any type of shrubbery of any sort should go before the ACB to make sure they're putting in what we call now those shrubs that are okay to be planted in our development here. Because a lot of them have been,
Okay, but that's ACB.
but I'm just saying,
Okay.
that's why this part here doesn't really belong here.
Right.
It should go under ACB, and the rules in Congress be from
So
one another.
I'll do it this way. I'm gonna start from my left, and I'm gonna ask if you think this paragraph should remain or be removed. And then go
I
by-
think it should be removed.
Okay,
It doesn't reflect a committee responsibility.
okay,
Removed.
okay, Joe?
I disagree.
Okay, that's fine, Robert?
I disagree, but it needs to be rewritten. This all comes out of what the Oversight Committee started about going around. So I say, I don't agree, it needs to be rewritten, but not taken out completely.
Okay, I think it should be removed.
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 Removed. Okay, so the removed has it,
Yep.
and it's coming out. But if at some point you want to rewrite it, and we want to add it, we can always add it at another time. Okay, hold on. All right, any other questions from the board? Okay, Michael.
Okay,
Give your name, please. real quick.
Michael Coleman.
Thank you. I know
All right.
this.
If you guys are up there trying to get this done, all right, you're wasting this board meeting's time. You're wasting this board meeting's time to go through what you guys are doing right now. Okay? Y'all should be sitting by yourself going through this, not wasting the time of this board meeting to listen to what you guys are doing.
All right.
It's a committee handbook. It doesn't have anything to do with the residents right now. It should be done at a later date by all of y'all at another meeting.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Coleman, the facts of the matter are that y'all up here cannot meet and discuss anything collectively unless we are at a duly authorized and noticed board meeting. We're not allowed, under the law, to have that kind of what's it called? In-camera meeting. It's against the law. We can't do it.
I understand
And
that.
why are you asking us to do something that's illegal?
Excuse
But
me.
you're wasting time by going.
I'm sorry, we're doing board business, and we asking about being open, then we're doing board business. I'm sorry, it's gonna take however long it's gonna take, this is board business. Yes, give your name.
Hello, James Moriarty.
Thank you.
Where are the records for the Architectural Control Board?
That's not what can you hold that question,
No, wait, I'm
please?
gonna ask you another question.
Okay, go ahead.
Please.
Okay,
I have many elderly neighbors.
hold it toward you,
I
man.
have many elderly neighbors. I don't think that they could possibly understand the fact that they're responsible for this bush and not that bush and this bush and that. You hire a landscaping company, and up and down every area, there's a lot of very elderly people. Why don't we cut the bushes for them?
We'll be doing them all.
Yeah, well.
We will be
okay,
doing them all, okay?
Yeah, and also, I got the rule book, I bought my house from Eileen Cooper 8 years ago.
Mhm.
She gave me the rule book, there was not a mention in there about planting certain type of plants in this place or that place. There was nothing in the rule book about it. Is there any grandfather clause in this?
Not sure, but look for the architectural control rules in the office, and they'll give it to you.
Okay.
Okay, or on the website.
And I should be able to find out what was.
I don't know if it
before?
mentions specifically what plants.
Well, we're mentioned in the committee, so I want to know, this architectural control board, are there a series of records I can go into and see what was planted before I moved in?
Robert, can you answer?
I can only speak for, I'll say, 2015 or later when I was involved. At that point, there are extensive records. for every area. What was done before that, I have to admit, I don't know. The archives are pouring through boxes and tons of paper. What they'll find, we really don't know in that regard. There should be a lot there. It depends on what was done. If a city permit was pulled, which is unbelievably you have to do for certain landscaping, those records could exist as well.
Okay, can't see who it is, but whoever's back there.
Victoria.
Hold it, oh, thank you, Victoria.
Okay, I'm totally confused.
Hold it right up to your mouth so I can
I'm
hear you.
confused again. You started off with you're going to go back to the original builder, then you were canceling it.
We're doing all the hedges, but that's not what we're talking about right now,
So
so.
I want to know whether you're backtracking again and you're not
Yes.
doing certain things?
No, we're doing all the hedges.
Okay. In the
All the
future as
plantings.
well, or from here on, you're going to expect other things, or you're going
We
back?
took that out, we just took that out, we took that segment out.
Which
of the book.
segment, that you're going backwards
Right, we
or
took
going
that out.
forwards?
No, I'm not going through.
All right, thank you. Yeah, but we're working on the handbook, so we're gonna
What
vote
does
on.
that mean? Are you going to do our lawns, or?
We're gonna do all the lawns, we're gonna do all the hedges. Okay,
Madam Chair, I call the question.
hold on, I'm just gonna do that. I'm gonna take a vote on accepting the committee handbook with the changes, including what we just discussed. I'm gonna start from my right.
Yes.
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 Aye.
That was an aye? Yes.
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 I do.
That was it, we're done. They're approved. Next.
Next, new business. The first item is rain sensors. We have a couple of proposals. Okay, folks, please. Thank you. So the first one,
Can I ask a quick question? Just, I don't want to waste anyone's time, but I really want to know, is a rain sensor something that keeps it from watering if it's raining?
Right.
Okay, we don't have them now, obviously, right?
Until it breaks, which usually takes around 30 days.
we did have them.
We have them, they're mostly functional, and sometime after, between 2007 and 2010, Castle, who got tired of maintaining them, disconnected them all. So they haven't been working since years before Castle left. Their manager got in here and disconnected them all. It's against the law, we have to have them, and we don't want, I want to point out, they are not predictive. So when your sprinklers come on and 10 minutes later it's raining, that's the way they work. They don't predict rain, they measure rain that has already occurred. You could shut the sprinklers off halfway through, that'll work.
Okay, so the proposals that we have one proposal for 29 clocks, a rain sensor at each of the 29 clocks, and that includes all the materials supplied by the vendor. That's page 4 in your package. And that's for $2,900. The next proposal is with us supplying the sensors for 29 clocks throughout the property, and that's for $1,885. And the last one is from Palm Beach Broward for 28 rain sensors for $3,500. So obviously, to me, they're a little too expensive.
Yeah,
Wait, can I just ask a question? My question is, what's the cost of the rain sensors?
$125 each.
I was asking you.
No.
No.
The online price for the rain sensors with the bracket and a 25 feet of wire is $21.52 from the best vendor on board. Probably we can round it up. Sensors for us to purchase them outright, the 30 of them would be about $750 tax and shipping.
I didn't understand.
Rain sensors for 30 will cost us about $750.
Okay, so,
Question.
go ahead.
If we go with the one that's providing the sensors, is there any sort of a warranty with that? Do we get any?
The rain sensors have the same warranty no matter who buys them.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
The sensors have the same warranty no matter who buys them. Their labor should be warranted, labor is labor.
So,
Well, technically, there's a 1-year warranty on labor only, not the parts.
well, this one says parts and labor. The first one, where they're providing them, it says parts and labor.
Okay, the second, this is weird. I mean, we have 2 proposals from the
Same
same
company.
company, one with, one without, with different terms and conditions. Are they trying to confuse us? If they are, they're doing a good job.
We also have two proposals from another company,
Right.
and without.
I'm going to make a motion right now that we go ahead with total irrigation.
Which one?
The first one, the full cost of $2,900, because it includes part and labor warranty instead of just parts, and because Total Irrigation has been instrumental in the entire redevelopment of our irrigation system, and they're still here. We have other business going on with them, but we also have other business going on with Palm Beach Broward, and frankly, I trust Total Irrigation more.
You second that motion? Okay.
Is that, I just want to finish, is that a motion to accept the proposal with the vendor supplying everything?
$2,900. I want one person responsible for everything.
So that's the March 20th bid.
By the way, I was going to ask your opinion, Mark. Do you have a preference?
No, like you said, both of these companies will be here, they'll, they're not gonna run away, they'll stand behind their work, and either one would be an appropriate choice.
So I'm going with the cheaper one.
So, it is more money than if we bought the sensors ourselves.
Yeah, but you see, once you buy the sensors yourself, you have a different warranty situation and a different installation mistakes then fit into the warranty question, because if it's not installed properly, you voided your warranty. So I would rather go with one guy who has to wear the total tariff for all the responsibility.
I have one question.
Yes, go.
My question is, who's going to test the rain sensors to make sure that they are working?
How about we have Palm Beach Broward test Total Irrigation's work?
Robert's gonna test it.
The law requires that our Palm Beach Broward must test them whenever they work on the property. Testing them is not trivial, but that's Florida law, which says licensed contractor who installs or performs on an irrigation system must test for the correct operation of each rain sensor all the time. How they do it, that's their problem, but the law says they have to do it, which is, of course, why Castle disconnected them, because they didn't want to bother.
Well, I don't know if that's the reason, but I don't think they were working properly.
But if
Yes,
we're
Rosie?
going with Total Irrigation, then Palm Beach Broward won't be the one that tests them.
Well,
That's not the
actually,
way the
they'll be
law-
doing what's called destructive testing. They'll be the ones who are pushing the system to see what breaks.
Make sure it's broken.
Sad to say, the way the law is written, that responsibility falls to Palm Beach Broward.
That wasn't what you said before.
Palm Beach Broward is a licensed irrigation contractor that performs work on our system. That's their routine job under their contract. Since they are in that category, as the law is written, testing the rain sensors is their responsibility under the law.
Is Total Irrigation a licensed irrigation contractor?
Yes, but they do not perform routine maintenance on our system.
Yeah, it's in the Palm Beach contract.
Well, then Palm Beach is going to have to certify.
Exactly. Okay, any other questions from the board? Any questions from anyone who's looking at us? Dominique, or can you get up mic to Dominique?
Yes.
And Dominique, thank you for your help with FPL.
I'm trying. I know we're trying to get through all this, and it's very difficult.
Thank you.
Especially when you have all these different people that are constantly changing. My question, though, is in regards to the rain sensors, that you have Palm Beach Broward that took on the contract to maintain them, so they've actually been in violation because they have not been maintaining them?
In my opinion,
They
yes.
haven't been there?
In my opinion, yes, they've been violating the law.
Actually, by extension, we've been violating the law because they're servicing at our pleasure, and if we haven't paid for it, then they have no obligation to
It's in their
provide it.
contract. It's in their contract, but we didn't have working sensors, so we need to get them installed.
Yeah, those sensors weren't working when they got here, so.
They weren't, I know, I agree.
Okay,
Neither
but
was
they-
the irrigation system.
That's what
But
I
they
said.
took on the contract, is that correct?
I'm sorry.
They took on the contract, they
Correct.
assessed the property, and they knew that there was no rain sensors here. So I'm just saying, maybe we can use that as leverage with them.
I don't think we should be discussing this without a copy of the contract in front of
Okay.
us.
That's a good idea too.
Brightview found
They
the
put
same
it on.
problem. Brightview found the same problem in their initial report in January 2018. Step one was to replace all the rain sensors. They didn't do it either.
Okay, so we're gonna get it done. Okay, no other questions? Okay, I'm gonna, yes, thank you. I'm gonna start from my left this time. Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
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 I'll
Yes.
start from my right this time. I'll go right left. Okay, common area sod. So, we have a lot of blocks, well, actually, Mark, do you want to talk about this? You went around with that, did you go around with that?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Everybody knows we have an irrigation problem, we have sod issues throughout our community, and it was addressed many times, and we kind of sorted it out to start our sod project in areas that are most visible around in our common areas. In order to do so, we went around with our landscaping company and we designated areas that a lot of areas that would be in need and would have an impact on the complexion of the community. The proposal that we got back is, it's a pretty expensive proposal. We can go around and adjust it and do what we need to do, but we just wanted to start somewhere to get an idea of what we're up against and where to start and to move on from. I don't know, is there any other questions about that? I mean, that's the origin of this
Well,
project.
let me review what this proposal covers. It includes a number of blocks and areas, and it talks about spray existing weeds with herbicide, prep work to install new sod, which Mark said earlier there was enough soil beneath the top sod.
That's a question that's gonna come up again. Joe and I spoke about it, we will bring that question up again. Does the sod really have enough topsoil underneath to sustain the grass and have it?
But they're gonna lift the old, because I think in the past they
They're gonna
put
remove,
sod
they're
on
gonna
top of
spray
sod.
whatever's there
Okay.
in whatever, in the dimensions that,
all I can tell you is when Friedman was here, they put some sod on my lawn. They didn't put topsoil down, the sod died within a month.
Okay,
Okay,
well,
so if you want the roots to go down, you're gonna have to have something that draws them down, which is fertilized soil, nutrients.
and like I said, if you put sod, hang on, if you put sod on top of sod, it's gonna make it very hard to
The
sidewalk.
sod has to come out, but the new sod should be on top of fresh.
Can we pile the sod under,
Okay.
cultivated under?
No.
I can't hear you, what did you say?
I'm saying, is there any way we can actually plow the sod under and just no, there's some good grass and some good loam, surface material in that sod. If we have it, we just cultivate it and plow it under, mix it in with what we have, and then lay some fresh sod on top of it, that might work.
kind of like these areas.
Folks,
No, wait a minute.
please,
No,
hold on,
Lauren already
everybody.
said it would rip up some elements of the
But
irrigation system.
the areas that we're speaking of here, there's not a heck of a lot of grass. You want to get what's there
It's-
out.
it's
You don't want the weeds
Okay.
underneath.
Okay, let me finish reading, hang on. Deliver and install Floratam sod, Floratam, that's what I said the first time. And so that total comes to $41,670. It's page 9.
No.
It's page 9 in our package.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Joe.
I just want to make a statement. We are not discussing homes. We're discussing common area property only.
Correct. This is a master meeting and it's common property only. Go ahead, Dominique. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you wait just a second till the board finishes? I apologize. Go
When
ahead,
we
Karen.
start this, when are you gonna begin on this? I hope after.
Talk into the mic because I can't hear you.
When are you going to start this?
Is it one?
We don't know yet.
Karen, this is just a preliminary, I mean, this is nothing that is, we're even really gonna vote on tonight. I wanted to get it out there, get some ideas, and, you know, hear what our members, our residents have to say, you know, a couple things, and,
So you don't want us to
Joe had a
vote?
couple of good points, you know, you guys had a couple of good points, and we need to establish this more before we can.
Yeah, I just hope it's not during the dead of summer.
No, well,
Well, with rainy season.
we're not up to
summer,
the
there's a lot of
when
rain,
yet, we're
but
just
it's-
deciding if. Anybody else on the board? Yes, Robert?
Some of this is a little hard to read in prose here that they described. Is there a map that they've given us that really shows the areas they're gonna work on? There's actual addresses, I mean. No, a map, not drawing. No. I'd like to see that so we know what, and from that, we can make an estimate of approximately what percentage of the total amount of sod that we might need is represented by this $40,000+. I don't expect the answer now because I don't know how many acres this is even covering, but we'd like to know that.
Well, it's
The other-
56,700 square feet.
Yes,
That's
but-
the only dimensions.
Yeah,
they
but
give us.
that's barely an acre and a half, and we have about 90 acres of irrigated land. I understand, I'm just saying what's the total bill likely to come.
I know.
But now, this doesn't, as I understand it, essentially all of the grass surrounding the villas is common.
Correct.
So this doesn't seem to be covering anywhere near very much of that common property. The last comment I've got is Floritam was the do-all, end-all for a number of years after the University of Florida developed it some years ago. It's now falling seriously out of favor. It's not as nice looking as some others. It is also the only cultivar clearly susceptible to the sugarcane mosaic virus, which at the present time we don't have, and we hope to continue avoiding, but that's not a guarantee. There are other reasonably priced cultivars. I understand the next choice being favored by a lot is, I think it's called Palmetto. It's about a 5% increase in price over Floritam, according to one of my neighbors' landscapers who was promoting his sod work to us a couple weeks ago. So I would ask that as we proceed, we get expert advice and not put down Floritam if that's clearly no longer the right way to go.
Thank
The
you.
Palmetto is a low sun exposure sod as well, as you know. Yeah, I agree. The court is out on whether it's a perfect match, but many opinions are written in the past few years saying it's preferable to Floritam. There are many more expensive ones, but this is reasonably a priced alternative. Maybe we'll have to just consider it and get expert opinions, in my opinion. Absolutely.
Okay, back to Dominique, please.
Okay, a couple points. Alan, you brought up about cultivating. That's a great idea. Unfortunately, because one of our irrigation system and pipes, our underground electrical system, as well as our water services.
And cable.
And cable. And telephone for some people. Okay, so because of all
It's a
that.
non-starter, I didn't think.
Right, we don't know the depth, and I think that was just something else that wasn't in your quote, was the actual depth that they're going down to put the topsoil.
It doesn't say.
Okay. The other thing that's not being discussed is that we have quite a few areas are invaded with grubs, and that needs to be treated. I don't care what you put down, unless you treat for that, they're gonna eat it up.
Okay, well, if you do have that, please call in a work order, make sure that gets looked at.
Okay, but that's great for me, but I have some elderly, residents that, they don't know, or they don't wanna make trouble, or they don't know what that is, and they are under the impression that somebody from management is gonna go around, is gonna see it, is gonna take care of it. So I'm just letting you know, and you've driven around, Mark, you know what's out there. There are some areas that really need to be treated.
Okay.
But as far as cultivating, that would be a great idea, but because of our
Not-
facilities, it's
Not
really
feasible here.
not
Okay,
viable.
thank you, appreciate it. Hold on, Mark wants to speak. Go
The
ahead.
grubs and such are covered in the landscaping contract to be taken care of.
Okay.
As they are seen, they are
One sec, one
treated.
sec.
We have
Talk into the mic, please.
who's the insect guy, I forget what his name is.
Bug off?
Yeah, no, from Palm Beach Broward.
Oh,
He
okay.
comes in and he looks for those type things and treats them. So
Okay, so-
hopefully we'll have that all under control, or it is under control now. I haven't heard anything to the contrary that there is a problem right now.
Okay.
Hi, James Moriarty. If you want to see what kind of grass lives here, come to my property. I have 6,000 square feet of pristine St. Augustine. It's been there since I moved in. In 2017, I've been standing here telling this community that Luke's and Steve Friedman was killing the ground cover. It's millions of dollars of ground cover. 36,000 square feet just for the front lawns on Riviera. I'm going to tell you something else. You're wasting your time. The sprinkler systems do not work. Everybody knows this. It's all the breaking. Let me just finish, please.
No, I'm not talking.
Let me finish. There's only one solution to this. Everybody can point out the problem, but I'm telling you, in this area, I'm the expert. You must hire your own licensed irrigation guy on a contract, on a 1099, and have him hire the people and him be responsible. Nobody on this board knows who to speak to if the sprinklers don't go on or do go on or go on and they're trying to get out of the house to go to work. We need our own irrigation.
Okay.
This
I am
is-
gonna stop
Wait,
you
wait,
there.
hold on. This is a very good
You're off topic.
landscaping company. You always cut me off, but I'm telling you, this is the only answer. I'm here for the last time to tell the community, the only way out of this irrigation problem is to hire our own licensed irrigation guy. That's it. Nothing else will work. If you go and put sod down, I'll bet you dollars to pennies that it'll all die.
Thank you. Dave, oh, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
I know almost nothing about this kind of grass, but maybe it would be cheaper. Maybe it would be cheaper to actually put down seed and try to grow it instead of do sod. I mean, you can't grow anything from seed here. Okay, never mind.
Okay, give the mic to Bob. Hold on, everybody. Okay. National Turf
Bob Williams?
Association. Yes.
I guess, Mark, it would be obvious that, I think it's obvious that we need to verify before you put the sod in these common areas that the sprinklers are working in those areas, because there are many, I'm assuming that some areas around the lake would be on that, the lake walk would be on that list, and there are many areas that never get water still.
Bob, until we're comfortable with this irrigation system, we're not putting any sod.
Right.
Okay.
This
It's
is
just,
just for
you know,
discussion.
Whatever it takes.
This is just a discussion. We know that if it's not irrigated, we're not gonna.
They know what's not irrigated.
Yeah, if I may,
You may.
okay, good. I'd rather not go through this process piecemeal. It doesn't make sense to me to do it. Excuse me.
Excuse me.
It doesn't make sense to do this piecemeal. We're going to do part of the master's responsibility, and then Joe's going to try to do the homes, and then no, village, you guys are out of this one. And you know, countries like these stars. But really, what we have to do is conduct a survey of the entire property and find out what the entire scope of the problem is going to be, and what it's going to cost us to do the whole thing. It's kind of pointless to like refurbish Rainbury Circle and replace all the sod around Rainbury Circle, when as soon as the real estate agent turns off the circle, they're going to see, I'm not going to say devastated. You want to see devastated, come to my house. But in some cases, not really, you know, it just doesn't make sense. And then if we're talking about redoing the roads, which comes first, the sod or the roads? If we actually do the roads here, it's going to have an effect on landscaping. It has to. So the question, and this is about management planning. What comes first? Who's the chicken and who's the egg? And I don't know the answer to that, but I know that it's an important question. But I'd like to know the total number of square feet we're talking about, and I'd like to see a report from somebody about competitive grasses, because I take Robert Cohen's point. It doesn't make a lot of sense to install the one grass that is susceptible to a virus that is spreading all around us. Because sooner or later somebody's going to walk on somebody's lawn, come home, walk on our lawn, and that's it, we got it. So it makes no sense to install a grass that is susceptible to the virus.
Thank you. Joe?
I have a recommendation. Hello?
Yeah, it's there.
I have a recommendation that we table this issue until, since the irrigation system working 100% is the only thing that'll make anything work, is to hold off on this until such time as we...
We weren't going to vote, we were just discussing. Go ahead, I want to make a point as well.
Just a quick question. Are we locked into Palm Beach Broward to do this audit?
I don't think so.
No.
But I do want to say, this could be a very daunting and expensive project between Holmes and Master. I don't think we can do the whole community at once. I mean, we have to do it in phases. Joe and I spoke about this once. He said it'll take 3 years. So, A, irrigation. B, this is just a portion of the Masters, and it's 41 grand. We did not budget 41 grand for sod, and I think you budgeted even less than we budgeted. So the fact of the matter is at some point we're going to have to bite the bullet. We are probably going to have to do it in phases, but I don't know what's, we're going to do this circle and that circle and street.
I just want to know what it's going to cost. I want to know what the square footage is. And
that
then,
I would like to know as well.
And then we can tell, okay, maybe we can do this all at once, because it's better to disrupt the whole community for a short period of time rather than to disrupt segmented portions of the community for a year or 2 years or 3. Who's going to want to be the last house on the 3rd year to get their sod? Raise your hand.
Okay, so any opposition to tabling this?
None whatsoever.
Anyone else? Karen, Joe? We're going to table this? Karen, hold on. Yes, Rose.
Awaiting something?
I'm sorry, what?
I assume we're tabling it,
Awaiting more information, like the square footage, what specific areas are going to be done, the depth of the sod.
how the irrigation system is coming along.
Yes, well, that's going to be primary.
Okay, so let me take a stab at making the motion.
Okay.
Off the floor, which we don't like to do here. But my motion would be to get our property manager to have a survey done so we know the total square footage that we're involved with, and we can begin to think about how we're going to retire the cost of that project. What are you saying? No.
Hold on, Irv, please. 1 second. He's making a motion. Did you finish with your motion?
That's my motion.
Okay, do I have a second for the motion? Joe seconds it. Okay, any questions from the board? You wanted to make a point, Karen? Okay, Rosie?
Every house.
Talking to the mic, please. Thank you, ma'am.
Are we getting an estimate of the amount of land there is in Rainbury Bay, or the amount that needs new sod?
Needs sod.
Okay, because all the houses don't need new sod.
I've got 2 square feet that don't need sod, the rest.
And it'll have to be divided between Holmes and Master. I'm just saying, when we do the proposals, it'll be separated.
Okay, that's
What about the 18 inches that belongs to others? They get away with it?
No, they're gonna get sod eventually too, like me, eventually.
Okay,
Hold on.
the proposal that you put forth, Ellen, is there going to be a cost to do that? To make the,
No, it shouldn't be.
Mark?
Shouldn't be, no.
No.
Mark's gonna drive around with whomever from Palm Beach Broward.
We need a survey. We need to know where we're at before we start making plans to change
but
things.
when you say survey, it sounds like something
No.
a surveyor would do.
In-house.
Believe me, when that comes, when we're at that stage, we'll hear from Robert about the
Okay.
engineer.
Dave, I have any other questions from the board? Okay, I give you a name, please, as always.
Ray Clayton, Village.
Thank you.
All I have to say is, I've been here 7 years.
Hold it closer.
I've been here 7
Thank you.
years. Please do something. Honestly, I mean, other board members have been here, you've been around a while. You've had to hear this over and over and over. The initiative you're showing tonight is great. Let's follow through it.
Okay,
We just got to do it.
Well-
Without no water, nothing's going to happen.
we'll go into the next step.
Bob, just do it.
Okay, we'll take Jim since you're right there, and then we'll move to this side.
Jim Walsh, Billis. The one thing I haven't heard mentioned was after Irma roared through and devastated Delray Beach and Rainbury Bay, we had debris laying on the lawns for I don't know how long, rotting away, what have you, and there was an assessment made to replace that sod that was destroyed. So how are you going to address that?
That's part of master.
I haven't heard it mentioned, so that's.
I just said, I didn't give specifics yet. Okay, go ahead.
Irving Shulman, I just want to make sure that your proposal is for an estimate of the entire Rainbury Bay community.
It's not yet. This is only the master portion of the most.
Irving is saying my motion.
That's
Oh,
right.
yes.
Yeah, my motion is for the entire community.
The entire community. I'm not asking you what money
Okay, I'm
you're spending on. Your entire community.
Yes.
Okay. I hate to say this. I mean, a lot of you have heard me say this. I think I've been here the longest of everybody here. I've been here going on 34 years now, and I like Rainbury Bay. There's a dirty word out there that we're afraid to use. It's called assessment. Yeah, I know, but you know something? That might be something that's necessary. It's necessary in other communities. It's necessary in more affluent communities and less affluent communities than us. But you have to do it. You have to pay for what you need. You know? And I believe that the community will look into, and if we've got to get this place looking like it used to be. I mean,
Well, I would say this, if we don't need an assessment, we won't have an assessment. Hopefully we don't need
And
an
before
assessment.
we can do an assessment, we
And
need to know
Irving,
what
if
it
we
is we're
do
doing.
need an assessment, we'll have an assessment. And I'm one of the least favorable people toward assessments.
that's all I'm asking, Alan. I'd say, you know, let's be realistic. I mean, we're trying to save money wherever we can. We're working hard. We're getting the sprinkler system. Let's not waste all this money on the sprinkler system without getting our lawns and everything
Yeah.
working right. Thank you.
Okay, okay, go ahead. Chris,
Yeah, I had a
give your
question.
name.
Chris Mendy.
Thank you.
So I have a question for you. Several times now you've mentioned regarding the side in the homes and the masters.
Talk closer.
A couple of times just now
Yes.
you mentioned between the homes and the masters. We're addressing, you said, common area. That should include the villas of.
The villas is considered
Okay.
master property. No, it's included.
Okay, because you just, a couple of times, not.
I know,
once.
but because it will fall under the master budget, not under the villa budget.
Okay, but you just specifically said homes
Correct.
and masters.
Correct.
You didn't include villas.
Because it's part of master.
Villas is part of master, okay.
Yeah. All the land for villas belongs to master. All the land for homes belongs to homes. Anybody else? Okay, go ahead, Gail, and then we'll, hold on, Dave's coming.
Gail Gallinet. Yes, I'm in the villas, and I agree that the common area between the two units is a horrible situation, and anyone that's walking back toward their property will just see sand and other things like and weeds and nothing. So hopefully that's in part of your proposal for the masters, not just around the lake.
No, not just around the lake.
There are many properties also.
Correct. No.
Okay, let me be more explicit. The proposal is to do a survey of the entire community and determine exactly in square footage how much work we have to do. How much are going to have to cost this out and determine how we're going to pay for it. But we're not going to do, whether we're taking 1 year to do it, which is my preference, or 3 years to do it, we're going to do it. That's all there is to it. And of course, my term expires, thank God, in March, so I'll be looking from the audience to see what happens next after that.
Alan, can you just sort of, I don't even think it's an amendment, but acknowledge that, yes, so the survey will be separated out, masters and homes, so that homes will know how much it has
Yes,
to
I'm
come
sure
up with.
Mark will call me tomorrow to word the motion. I'll take care of it.
On the map.
Okay, so I'm gonna, last one, and then I want to vote on the tabling. Give your name.
Hi, Mary Kay Macri. I'm in the villas. I don't even know how to phrase this. The work trucks and the little golf carts.
Yeah, we're talking.
They come between 9:45, buildings, and 9:07. It's their shortcut. So if you're going to invest all this time and money in refurbishing the common areas, we need to have that stopped.
A speed bump.
No, they need to use the roads. They can't use the shortcut between the buildings because it's causing a problem also. I have several sinkholes now around my
If you have sinkholes, would you please call Mark tomorrow, because we need to
Well,
look at
no, I
those.
had them filled.
Call the office.
Robert has come out and filled them, but I don't think these golf carts riding through every day is helping the situation.
Mark, can you make note of that?
Okay, so we need some keep off the lawn signs. and then-
Right. She says he's driving through the property. Okay. All right, thanks. Okay, I'm gonna take a vote. Starting from my left on tabling this motion.
Yes on all counts.
Okay.
Yes.
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 Do I dare say no? Yes.
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 Yes?
Thank you. Okay. Last issue is the treasurer responsibilities, and I'm going to let Robert talk about this.
As the master treasurer, I follow up all with our banker, mainly on the reserve account where we have lots of money invested. My principal duty in regard to that is every month to negotiating with our banker whether to take cash out of the CD. We have many, many CDs because we need the funds immediately, or reinvest that money and put it back in another CD. Typically, unless we don't have big expenses, we have $100,000 in cash sitting in a money market. We don't need the cash in CDs. Simple job. And I've been doing it regularly since I took the job without thinking about it. At the seminar we had a couple weeks ago, the attorney pointed out that under the law, the board, this board, has duties that they have to do as a board. However, the board can delegate responsibility to either another person, like me, the treasurer, or to a committee. And in that case, those actions can be taken without a full board meeting. An individual or a committee can actually do things, provided the board has officially delegated this responsibility. So I am going to make a motion, mainly to cover my tail, since I've been doing this without being formally delegated, and ask that I be so delegated, and the treasurer of the homes and villas can do as they please. I move that the Master Board of Directors delegate to the Master Association Treasurer, that's me, the responsibility and authority to direct the Master Reserve Account, Bank Account Manager as to those needed actions regarding the reinvestment or cash out of Master Reserve Account certificates of deposit as they mature. Further, in the case of the unavailability of the treasurer at any particular time, I move that the Master Association or Vice President is delegated this responsibility and authority. That's my motion.
Okay, do I have a second for this motion?
Second.
Thank you, Ted. So I'm going to ask Ted to talk a little bit about this. What I know is that our investments are laddered, which means that they come due at different times, and as they come due, a decision is made if we reinvest that money, or if we need it, we take some out, and that we also give UBS in this case the understanding that we do not want to fall below X amount of dollars, whatever dollar amount we set. Can you add to that or explain it further?
I don't think it's really much to explain. I think it's pretty simple and straightforward, at least from my perspective. Obviously, Robert is looking for a little bit of comfort, and I have no objections to that. Rosie now is in the position with homes, and I believe you also have substantial investments.
Yeah, ours is mainly putting money into reserves, not taking it out.
Well, eventually you're going to be taking it out at some point in time.
To side, for one thing.
And villas, we don't have that problem. We don't have enough cash to really concern ourselves with investing. We have to keep ours pretty much liquid. And at that point, yeah, right now, I pretty much have sole discretion on that as the treasurer's function. However, if I run across an issue where I'm indecisive about something, I certainly will bring it up to the ladies to my left and to Mark and Doug, and we'll make a decision at that point in time. But as far as what Robert is looking for, the comfort that he wants, security, to me it's much to do about nothing, but that's okay.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else on the board? Hey, you guys. Anybody else on the board have a comment on this? No? Okay, so we just...
I do have a comment.
Okay.
This is a motion that gives discretionary power to one person by ceding that power of authority from the board of directors. Now, I don't have a problem with giving that power to Robert because I know his nature and I can't imagine he would do anything that would be disfavorable to us. However, I'd like this motion to expire with Robert's term as treasurer, and I would like to make it a practice that we decide each year to renew that authority or not, as the case may be, because I don't necessarily trust successive generations of treasurers to be as precise as Robert is.
Yeah, I would tend to agree that I believe that if it's strict reading, each board has to redelegate every time, probably every year we have delegation, you probably have to make these votes every year. I agree, that's probably the case.
So you'll modify that a little bit to say that it expires at the end of your term, or your time as treasurer, I'll put it that way. Can you do that?
No, actually, it should be the term, because even if he's reelected and serves as treasurer again, that's a new term, and it should be reauthorized for the new term.
Yeah, I just want, the motion I made does not mention any person by name, it refers to simply the Master Association treasurer.
I wasn't going to call it the Robert
Yeah, I
Coleman.
understand. So, and I guess we could add a sentence that says this delegation shall be renewed each year by each board of directors.
Okay, renew each year. Okay, so do I have a second on that? Okay, and Ted, do you second this revised motion?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board?
Call for unanimity.
Hold on, no question. Bob has a question, hold on.
Yeah.
No, hold on.
Just
a question.
Just a question. Theoretically, you might not stay as treasurer through the end of the term. Let's say Lois resigned and you reorganized and someone was appointed. So should it talk about the end of his term or the end of his appointment as treasurer?
It's a non-starter, because if Lois resigns or any other way leaves the board, I automatically become president, and then there would be no third party until we either appoint or elect. So, and that person would be appointed or elected to the vice president's position. The problem is if Robert leaves, then I think that permission, that authorization should expire with his term, and whoever replaces him as treasurer would have to be reauthorized.
All right, we'll figure out the phrasing of that. I'm going to take a vote starting from my left on this amended motion.
Yes.
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 Yes?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
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 Thank you, one and all.
And it's just past 8 o'clock.
I know, you're doing very well tonight. Okay, liaison or committee reports.
Yep.
Any from the board? You have, well, let me go around. You have any, Rosie?
Thank goodness, no.
Okay, Karen, no. Okay, Joe, you're up.
All right, we have some landscaping that needs to be removed and replaced.
Okay.
It's either full of weeds or it's dying and it just doesn't look good anymore. So I have here in front of me a set of documents which I haven't totaled up, but they have pictures showing where we need to make improvements and where we need to remove things or replace them. So I want to give this to the board for the next meeting, go look at it, and
Vote on it. It's
make
not
it.
that we have to vote on it?
Well, it's the expenditure of funds.
Okay, well,
These are master's responsibilities, not homes.
It's landscaping, period. That's the whole community.
It's the whole community. So if these are things that have to be replaced, some of them would be master's responsibilities and some of them might be homes' responsibilities.
Well, they're not basically on individual homes, it's all on master's property.
And it's a master's issue.
Right.
Okay, that's what I asked.
all right, if you can give that all to Mark and let him have copies for us, maybe.
Mark, can you price out that work?
It's all priced out.
It's all priced out?
No, do you have a copy already?
I don't yet.
Oh, okay.
No.
I would just comment that I think this is key item that our beautification committee should review. It seems to me that replacing landscaping is clearly
It's landscaping.
beautification.
No, it's
Landscaping maintains the existing, and maintaining could be replacing stuff that is no longer, it's dying, or it's, you know, it's like the hedge on Davis Road.
I get it, as long as it's replaced kind for kind, that may be just a repair, but if anybody's planning on changing the type of plants, I think beautification should look at it.
Read the description. Plantings, hedges, or landscaping.
Okay.
It's
Just
maintenance of everything
No.
that's out there.
All landscaping is landscaping.
This thing better stay.
Do you want to speak about that? Francesca, hold on. Can you give Francesca a minute? Since she's landscaping oversight person.
Stand up,
No, go ahead, you can hit her. You have my permission. Wait, turn the camera on.
Are you a itis?
Coming from you, it's.
I know that you received the package, you will be receiving the
Yeah, I
package.
can hear.
But if I may, can we just begin with just the landscaping of the front entrance? Because I've been holding it for a while until you looked at it.
This is what Joe was talking about?
Yeah, it's
Okay,
only-
yeah, well, we can't do anything now until the next meeting. If we had had it before the meeting.
Even just one page, and it'll express exactly what's being done. One page.
I don't understand what's going on.
She's asking to approve one page work.
No, we're in good,
It's not on our agenda. Yeah, we need to have reviewed
I didn't
material.
realize it wasn't on the agenda.
No, not on the agenda. We're done with the agenda. Okay, Joe, anything else? Okay, Robert, do you have any reports?
I'll talk about irrigation. I was going to mention this a little bit later, but I'll bring it up now. We've had many problems with irrigation, everybody knows. In the past few days, Mark, what would you say? Palm Beach Broward has reported to us, and we've complained that portions of the irrigation system were not working, that some person or persons unknown apparently has been intentionally vandalizing our irrigation system by cutting some of the control wires where they are located in underground wiring boxes. Palm Beach Broward has found these. I've asked, is this string trimmer damage? No, it's underground, it's in a wiring box, the string trimmers don't go there. Some person has apparently deliberately disconnected or cut wires. Palm Beach Broward has been working on fixing them. I don't have a count of how many locations this occurred in or how many damages have been found. This is clearly deplorable, and we're going to seek to find out what's going on by some security measures yet to be determined. A major problem with our irrigation has been reported for many months, probably going on for years. We have 4 big new pumps we just put in, pumping stations. 2 of the 4 are working. 2 of the 4 failed to work reliably because we have very low power quality being provided to us by Florida Power and Light. We've been complaining. We've had some testing done by Florida Power and Light. Our manufacturer of the pumps has done testing. The manufacturer's written us an extensive letter saying we've checked all our equipment. There's nothing more we can do. Our equipment is not at fault. It is Florida Power and Light's problem. I've been trying to get reaction out of Florida Power and Light. It wasn't working until a couple hours ago. This afternoon, about 3 o'clock, I filed a formal complaint against Florida Power and Light with the Florida Public Service Commission, complaining that Florida Power and Light was not taking care of this in this regard. Actually, when you file that report, you can send it either to the Public Service Commission or directly to the utility. I chose the option of sending it directly to the utility. Why? As I found on the website this afternoon, which I never explored before, by doing that, under the law, Florida Power and Light is required to reply to our complaint within 1 business day. About an hour and a half after I filed this complaint, or maybe more, 2.5 hours, I got a first reply from the local engineer for Florida Power and Light saying that he was ready to come and start talking to us about working on this problem. He sent me a report of a transformer that he said looks like it's working fine to him. Unfortunately, the one he sent me the data for, is not one of the 4 that power the pumps. So we need to get this engineer out here, educate him on our property and this equipment, and get his team working on it. And my next step, and I may still do it, is my poison pen email to the Chief Executive Officer in Florida Power and Light, which worked very well 2 months ago when I got some street lights fixed in a couple of days. So we're putting pressure on them, and I appreciate the help from Dominique Himmelwright, who suggested make sure we contact Public Service Commission, and it was a good idea. So maybe we will get some action out of FPL, and how long it will take them to fix the problems, we don't know, but hopefully we'll get there soon and get all the system working properly.
Thank you. Hold on, wait for Mike.
Let me clarify that a little bit. Public Service Commission is your last resort. I mean, that's like playing your trump card, okay? You really don't want to do that till you really push. You want to give them the option. So by Robert going and sending the letter to FPNL, okay, that put them on high alert. And as you noticed, you got a reaction right away, okay? And I will bet you $5 right here in my pocket that within a week, they're going to have somebody jumping, because the last thing they want to do is get a public service complaint, because then they have to pay a fine. They don't want that, okay? They don't want that, and we don't want that, because we don't want to have that black mark on, ooh, they're the trouble people, you know? We want action, okay, which we haven't been getting, okay? So by your contacting the company, that was the best thing to do. I did not say we contact the Public Service Commission, because I certainly don't want to lose my job, okay? But
I won't name you.
Oh, gee, this is not recorded, right? Okay,
We
but
won't
look,
show them the tape.
but look, I live here, my parents live here, a lot of you know me, okay?
Rich David, yes, we're racist people.
And, you know, I look to be very involved because I live here too, and it matters to me, you know? And it matters to you, I talk to my neighbors, so this is something that involves all of us, all right? I just happen to work for Florida Power and Light. So when I can give us information on lighting or help with the electrical, I will gladly do it, okay? When there's a storm, should that come up, as everybody knows that you can contact me. I'm also one of the lead people that investigates the area and writes up everything that needs to be done. I'm one of the lead patrollers. So when there's a storm, I'm right here. You'll see my truck right at the house. Everybody, a lot of people know where I live. And if not, you've certainly heard from me. But I'll be glad to help, all right? But this is the first step, and I think we really will get some action now. Because believe me, all the bells and whistles went off the minute that he sent off that email to the company and alerted them that this could be a public service complaint, okay?
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Is it on this topic? Is your question on this topic? Well...
It's up, Gio. The door's open.
Okay. It's not really what we're talking about, but hang on. Hold on, wait for the mic.
Roberta Weltman. I don't know if anybody is aware, because Liz speaks very quickly, but about a week and a half ago, somebody drove up on the grass and knocked down the stop sign just before 13th Street. And I don't know if it was done on purpose or they were just going too fast and missed the curve. But again, if this is going to be vandalism, we have to be...
Oh, well, that could have been an accident. That may not
It
have
could have
been
been,
done
which,
intentionally.
I'd like to see bumps in the
Okay.
road again.
If we're doing committee reports now, so let me stick with committee reports, and then if you have other issues like this, then we'll get to it when we get to good welfare, okay? Is yours about the committee report?
Regarding FPL's situation?
Sure, you can.
Yeah. What about, my name is Arpis. Well, what about a lawyer's letter?
Well, we've got it now. We've got it under control now. Thank you. Okay, I don't have any committee reports this month. What is it?
Jack, do you want to speak to safety and security?
I just have...
Wait for the microphone, Jack.
I just have one issue. Safety and security is just starting out again for another season. And we've had several incidents which I consider a large amount of incidents in this past month, that
Talk really into the mic, because I can't hear you.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
That we've been listening to and dealing with. So we're looking for a couple good people to help us out. If anyone feels they want to try to come to the Safety and Security Committee, and they think they have time enough to dedicate to that issue, I'll be glad to talk to them. You can find my number in the phone book. Give me a call. Thank you.
Jack Fishbone is his name. Okay, thank you, Jack.
Yeah, I have something to
Go
add
ahead.
to that, if it
Give
just
away
didn't
something.
read my mind completely. I may come back to it, pass some.
Okay. Stephanie, you have any reports to make?
I'd like to cede my time to the two chairs of committees that I liaise with, and that would be beautification and green.
Okay. Wait for the mic, Gail. And then Sean, you're next.
Gail Gallinet, okay. Eileen and I have surveyed various areas around the community that could use some beautification. And our first project would be the clubhouse. If you've noticed, the left side of the area leading to the office has rotten railroad ties as a border, and we would like to replace them with something better than that. We had a person come today, a contractor, to survey the area. He's going to give us a proposal, and I have another person coming tomorrow with the same proposal, hopefully. In that same area, we'd like to create a small retaining wall to encompass that sole plant that's there, and add some succulents, some other native plants to enhance the overall look, nice and fresh into the people as they come into the
Okay,
office.
talk really into the mic.
Okay. Second, we would like to add a border at the main entrance to retain the mulch that is just flowing onto the sidewalk. I don't know if you noticed that. Coming into the clubhouse, the mulch is just laying there. We'd like to put a little border there. And we also talked about those shrubs that are missing. You mentioned there's a replacement of shrubs that are not there. I don't know who's responsible.
That's landscaping.
Okay, so
Okay.
there's like 9 shrubs that have to be replaced there.
Okay.
What else? So basically that's it. We're having another meeting this Friday at 10 o'clock, and Stephanie's coming.
Okay.
And hopefully I'll have some proposals to bring to everybody.
Thank you. Appreciate your report. And then Sean. Sean, raise your hand.
Charlene Green Committee, we had a fun Earth Day.
Talk into the mic.
Can I say something to people who are trying to speak into the microphone? You have to hold it like it's an ice cream cone and you're about to take a lick. That's how close it needs to be.
Very close. You don't know where it's been right before you.
That's a problem, but I don't think we have to worry about it right now.
Okay. Basically, we did our Earth Day celebration at the theater. It went off pretty good. We're hoping to next week finish a couple wreaths to hang somewhere in Irv's clubhouse.
Not my clubhouse.
Yes, it is.
And we're also working on an octopus, which may or may not come out well. We'll find out at it too. We're having a special meeting next week to finish this, and then we're done with official meetings for over the summer, but we'll be back in September.
Thank
We're
you.
going to work with beautification.
Thank you for all your hard work, both of you. Appreciate it. Cece, you have any reports for this time?
Working with Mark and Jim, so no at this time, no.
On what?
I'm working with Mark and Jim also, no. Everything is being addressed.
Okay, thank you. Ted? Nothing? Okay. Anybody else in the audience have a committee report? Committee report? No? Okay. Now I'll take good welfare.
Hi, Dominique Morgan. I just have one question. The whole thing with the vandalizing, I know I'm not the only one who finds it disturbing, but my first question, who benefits from that? Okay? So, I know most of my neighbors wouldn't even know where those controls are. Okay? And the other thing is, if they opened it up, the first thing they would be worried about is whether or not they're gonna get electrocuted, because they don't know the difference between low voltage wire, or cable wire, or anything else. So I hate to tell you, but I'm an investigator for FPNL. So when I hear something like that, I find it a little suspicious, and my first thought is, who benefits? And then I go from there. So maybe find out what areas, is there one particular area more than another? You can also put up a deer camera, they're easy to put up, okay? You have a couple options.
No, I agree. Who would benefit is a strange question. Fortunately, the irrigation wires are all very low voltage and will not do damage. But it doesn't mean they couldn't. They couldn't accidentally open up one that they shouldn't be messing with and have a problem. Mark and I are working on, and we'll get some more data from Palm Beach. We want to find out better data on the locations. We don't have it yet. And yes, we've thought about surreptitious cameras, not only for this problem, but some of the other vandalism that's going on that I may briefly mention later.
I'll amend your comment, Robert, by saying if somebody happened to hit a high voltage line, that would solve the problem.
We know who it was and where it was, very quickly. Okay, anything else for good and welfare? Seeing nothing else, I'm going to ask for an adjournment.
Let's go home.
Okay.
So moved.
Roger in the back, don't leave. Roberta, don't leave. Have you met each other yet? Oh, you're going to meet each other now. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.